Hey everyone, it's Colin with Legalized Mischief Productions. Thank you for joining me and welcome. And today, as you can see, we're starting the Mephiston tutorial for Chief Librarian of the Blood Angels. Recently premiere-sized and given an awesome new model. This one's going to be a lot of fun to paint. We're going to be going through this one step by step. There is a lot going on this model. Some really good opportunities for playing with different textures, playing with different volumes, different colors. So I'm really excited for this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. So as you can see, we have them in a lot of sub-assemblies here. So this is my little tray that I'm keeping all the sub-assembled pieces in. I mean, backpack, arm, this foot, his head. There's like one tube off. His book, his shoulder pads. He has these vials that go on the front of his cloak here. They come down just right there. Those are going to be painted separate. Well, they go the other way. But you get the idea. Those are going to be painted separately and just glued on there. Easy peasy. All this stuff just really makes it easier. All this just really makes it easier for us to paint the details that we want to paint. And we don't have to spend a lot of time masking, which is extremely time consuming. It can be a little inaccurate as well. So we just want to make sure that we're giving the best opportunity to get the best finish without having to mask a bunch of stuff and that we're able to get painted what we want to get painted, because this is a real centerpiece model. I mean, this is one of those that you really want to take your time and do well on. Because you're only going to paint one of them probably. If you're painting for your army, you're definitely only going to paint one of them. And so you really want to make him shine. If he's going to be on the table, he's going to be a focal point of the army that you have on the table. So you definitely want to take your time and do a really nice job on him. So to that end, where we're going to start is we're going to start with his cloaks. He has two distinct cloaks. Probably going to have to adjust the focus. I apologize. Just a quick adjustment. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. So he has two cloaks. He has the one around his waist, kind of his lower cloak. This one is going to be red, but it's going to be a different red from his armor. Armor is going to be one red. Cloak is going to be another red. This kind of musculature part of his armor is going to be still another red. So it's interesting to be painting. It's one of the things that's interesting about Blood Angels. It's one of the things that's interesting for me about painting this model in particular is that there's going to be three different reds basically on this model. And to get them each to be interesting and not clash and not just kind of all blend together is a fun challenge. So this cloak's going to be it's going to be a pretty dark red. At its base, it's going to be a very dark red. It's going to be a true red. For this cloak, just going to be doing, we're not going to be highlighting this with a brush today. We're just going to be doing the airbrushing on the cloaks. So with this, we're going to be doing black red and then Evil Sun Scarlet from GW. I have a really easy way to paint cloaks that I will be sharing with you today that I love. It's super simple and it gets a really nice effect. So I'm excited to show it to you. So we're going to paint his cloak, and then after we paint his cloak, we'll go back. It's easy to mask off the cloak. You just put a piece of tape there, and then just kind of like we'll saran wrap the cloak and then just put a little bit of tape around the sides there. On the back, really, just saran wrap will cover all that when we do the armor and stuff. So it's really easy to mask this off after painting. We're not going to do the highlights yet because we are going to be handling this model. After we paint kind of the face and the base, we can put the foot on the base. One of the things that's funny about this model is just like this kind of weird kind of foot is just hanging out there on the base, but that slots in under his robe. I mean, it's great for painting purposes. So it slots in under his robe. So you just paint his foot. But we're just going to airbrush that real quick, mask it off, airbrush the base around it, and then we can put Mephiston on the base and then keep painting him on the base. But until then, we're going to be handling the model. And so we're not going to do the highlights on the robe today. We're going to do those later when we do kind of more of the general highlights, because we also have to paint this foot with his armor as well. And then he has the big flowy cloak. You're not an important character in 40K unless you have a big flowy cloak. And this just slots right on top of the red cloak. This is kind of billowing. So this cloak's going to be black. His psychic hood is going to be black. And we want that to be a very stark. One of the things about Mephiston is just how stark of a character he is. He's just a very dark, very scary, very like stark character. He's the Lord of Death. I mean, he's just a scary guy. Even to other Space Marines. Other Space Marines are like, oh shit, Mephiston's coming. So, you want this to be a very severe paint job. You want it to be a really dark, kind of striking, brooding paint job. So that's the kind of vibe that we're going to go for. We're going to do a lot of shadow and light. And this is super easy. I mean, this was like made for sub-assemblies, because you can see this covers up all the parts on the cloak on the back, that kind of void there. It seems perfectly, really, with the psychic hood. We'll just slap the backpack over that, and that'll disappear. You can't put this hose on until you paint the cloak. So, and even when we take this off, these parts of the cloak here that are coming up, we can do those by hand. That's just a little brushwork on the side there, because these parts of the cloak here are going to be black as well. Super easy to do those by hand, so we're not going to worry about masking those or doing anything. We're just going to paint those by hand when we're done. So, first things first, and we are using the black red to get a nice base coat. We'll put this off to the side. We're going to use Vallejo model color black red over the black primer to get a nice base coat on the red lower cloak. I love this color. This is a really nice. This is kind of like Word Bearer's Crimson, or it's just a really nice dark crimson color from Vallejo. It goes on really nice. I use it a lot, when painting red, because it covers so well that it's an easy color to lean on if I'm painting this kind of rich, true red. So first things first, we're just going to get a nice all-over base coat with the black red, making sure to get, like, we want to get into the shadows, but we don't necessarily want to like flip this upside down and get, you can see there's still a little bit of black like right there, and that's okay. We don't want to completely obliterate the black primer. This less concerned about, because a lot of that's going to be covered by the cloak. Come up under here. Kind of, the armor is going to be red, so we're not worried about getting red paint, this black red paint on the armor. It's not going to be the base coat for the overall armor color, but it's not going to interfere with the armor at all either. But we're not going to go out of our way to base coat the armor with this, because we're going to mask that off and then paint the armor a different color. So that's it for that. clear that out a little bit, and then we're gonna hit that with a little air, let that dry. Now the most fun part of painting cloaks is similar to, like, if you remember the Redemptor Dreadnought tutorial, we're going to use the angle that we shoot paint to do the shading for us. I'm not going to be shooting this paint straight on to the model. I'm going to be picking which direction that the paint is going to, I'm going to be picking which direction the light is going to be coming from, and then I'm going to be spraying in that direction at a steep angle to the model and letting that dictate where my shadows are. So for Mephiston, the whole focus of the model obviously is on the head. I mean, that's clear. The whole focus of the model is right here. The wind and everything is kind of taking all the cloak, everything this way. The light is going to be coming this way. So you can see it kind of falling naturally now, kind of on the upside here, top here, top here, top here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the model, we're going to turn it sideways basically, and we're going to shoot, so we're going to turn it sideways basically, and we're going to shoot paint straight across the front of this model, and then slowly kind of angle it this way a little bit and catch these. So we're going to be spraying paint this way, and we're going to catch this, 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 and this, and we're going to leave those shadows on the back side of these folds in the fabric there. And because the paint is so thin, it's going to give us a really, really nice blend. Same thing on the back side here. We're going to be spraying this direction. We're going to be going the same direction with the light, spraying this direction. We're going to start off really extreme like this, and we're going to spray and then slowly rotate and work our way around, get the front of these and leave the shadow here, leave the shadow in there, and we're really not going to touch it beyond that. I'll do a little edge highlight and stuff, and I might do a really, really, really controlled glaze on like these kind of harder folds here on the edges. When it comes time to highlight, we'll do a sharp edge highlight on the bottom to really define that. But I'm not going to go crazy trying to highlight the robes here, because the robes are really complementary piece to this model. All the detail and all the crazy stuff we want to do is all going to be contained just right in here. So we don't want to do a lot lighting wise. We don't want to do a lot down here to kind of pull away the eye. We want everything to kind of stay just right in here with Mephiston. So we're gonna do a really nice highlight on the robe. We're gonna do a sharp edge highlight to kind of keep everything super clean and nice, but we're not going to overcommit to the robe and have it pull from the rest of the model. So this is just Evil Sunz Scarlet from GW, and you may notice, there's not really a whole lot of mid-tone going on here. Like going from black red to Evil Sunz Scarlet is a pretty sharp transition, but because the Evil Sunz Scarlet is so thin, you can see here how thin that is. Because it's so thin, it'll give us a really, really nice blend. So I'm excited to show this off because I love this technique. It makes painting robes and stuff a lot easier, and robes are a pain in the ass. So again, we're going to start at an extreme angle. We're going to turn this thing basically sideways and start spraying. And there you can already see we're starting to get a little bit of a highlight, but you can see, like, if you turn it like this, it's still pretty much that black red, right? But if you turn it like this, we're starting to get a little bit of that red. So we're just going to keep going with that, starting it at a pretty extreme angle. Start to turn it a little bit. Right? And then when we turn the model, let it dry. When we turn the model, we have that really nice transition from that beautiful red there all the way back. But if we turn the model like this, it's still mostly in shadow. Right? That's the effect that we want to get on those robes. So we're just going to turn a little bit more. We're going to come back. We're going to hit kind of the bottom part a little bit. Now we're working on the side. And you can see there. Now again, on the back of those robes is that black red. We wanted to hit the bottom a little bit, so we got a little shallower on the bottom. Hang on, I don't know why this is glaring so much. I feel like that's better. I feel like that's less glare. There we go. So you can see black, red, but then we get that really nice saturated red. Let that dry out. That really nice saturated red from that angle. And these robes are just shaded really, really nicely with very, very little effort. It's just the angle. It's just the angle of how we're shooting it. That's it. So then we're going to come over to the back. We're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to start really shallow. You can see it's starting to show up on that second fold back there. Started really shallow. And again, when we turn it, red to black red to really dark shadow, right? We're going to get a little more shallow on that middle fold here because we want to catch the back there. And kind of continue around the side and just kind of rotate the cloak. Richen up the bottom, go at an extreme angle. When we turn the model, boom, shadows. We're going to kind of hit a little bit behind the sword, a little bit more on the side. Because the light switches on the side, it's a little bit tricky. So we are going to shoot straight on a little bit on the side there. Because the light is going to switch as we're rotating around this way. The light is coming this direction, and then it's going that direction down the front. But on the back, we're just going to hit it a little bit to kind of lighten it up. And that is pretty much going to be it for his robe until we do another highlight, just a sharp edge highlight. I really don't think it needs a whole lot more than that. We have a beautiful red. We have a beautiful transition. We have a beautiful transition from light to dark on the robe. Maybe we'll hit it a little bit on the bottom there, because that's going to be peeking out of the cloak a little bit. But you can see how nice and smooth. Come on. Why isn't this cooperating today? You can see how nice and smooth. There we go. You can see how nice and smooth that transition is from that pure red there back to that black red. And that's a really nice looking cloak. Like, that is a blood red in your face. Boom. Really nice and vibrant. Beautiful, beautiful red cloak with 2 colors and, you know, spraying at the right angle. It's just remarkable. It's just remarkable how well that works and how far that will take you when you do cloaks like that. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's how I paint cloaks, tabards, you know, anything when I'm airbrushing those things. That's how I do it, and I just get that really nice transition to where you get that richness and that shadow, and really the airbrush and the angle does all the work for you, and you don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to get crazy with glazes. I mean, you can definitely. There's a lot of room to expand on this. I don't know why this camera's kind of like it washes out right there, and then I don't know. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for Mephiston's red cape. Super happy with that. And now the black cape, we're going to do... What happened here? Some paint on it? Awesome. Mephiston's cape, his black cape, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to be using gray instead of red, obviously. So first things first... I'm going to get some Vallejo Model Color Black. And just kind of repaint the cloak. Because right now it's just primer, and you don't ever want primer to be your kind of base color for black. Whoa. Why? Struggling right now. Sorry. Gonna cover up that red. Gonna get my background back. Go back to the paint. There we go. A little bit of air to dry that out. Just dry it out enough so I can put it down. Oops. And I'm just shooting air through the airbrush just to dry out the paint real quick so that we can move on to the next step, which is Vallejo Model Color Black Gray. And we're using black gray because I want this to be a truly black cloak. I don't want to mess around with blue. I don't want to mess around with green grays or kind of brownish cloak or anything like that. I just want this to be a truly black cloak. I really want this to be stark. I want it to be severe paint job. So I don't want to soften any of this. I really want to keep it. Like black, red. The shocking blonde hair. the sword, like I really want these elements to just be solid and firm and severe. So same thing we're going to do here is what we did. We're going to shoot. So this cloak's obviously sitting like that. Light is coming from the top down. So we're going to start at an extreme angle here, kind of spraying down the cloak. Go a little shallower. And there we have, from black all the way up to the little gray. I might have overdone it a little bit. But if so, we can just come back with the black and glaze it a little bit. But like there you can see the gray, and there it's still black underneath. I may have overdone that highlight just a little bit, but that's okay. We can always come back. So, nice thing about black is that it's super easy to fix. So same thing here. Extreme angle coming down the back there. Again, black underneath to gray on top. And then when you put these next to each other, I'm actually going to hit that with just a little bit of black because I did overdo it. And again, this is just going to get a sharp edge highlight. This isn't going to get, we're not going to do a bunch of texture work on the cloaks. The texture is going to be mostly in his chest and his hands, the leather gloves and everything. These are kind of the tablecloth to the main course that is, Mephiston. These are kind of setting the scene. These are framing the model, which the meat is, everything that's going on. Everything else is going on. His armor. Come on. So here we can go just in reverse. I'm going from underneath with black, very thin black. Make sure kind of reinforce there and there. See how much better that is with that gray. Just going right to black, right on that edge there. I'm much, much happier with that. Much happier with that than I was. So that you can see gray, boom, right to black. Let that dry. What is that? Go in. There you can see. Really nice. And again, back here, kind of overdid it a little bit, so we can come in here with the black. Really reinforce those shadows, come from underneath. Because really, we still want it to stay black. We want it to rate as black. So we're going to leave that right where it is. Excuse me. Now when we get these two next to each other here, you can see how striking you can see how striking that is with the gray, that pitch black, that vibrant red, just really starting to, this is going to be a stunning model. This is going to be a really stunning model. I'm excited. So that's it for Cloaks. As you can see, I mean, this is like 4 colors, right? We use 2 colors on the bottom cloak and 2 colors, including black, on. This is literally base coat and 1 highlight. But because of the directionality of how we use the airbrush, we get a beautiful, beautiful fade. Like you can see right, oops. This is what I get for messing around. So you see that chip right there? That's annoying. That's what I get for messing around with dry fitting and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you. So on the back here, you can see how striking that's going to be going from that black cloak to that red on the bottom there. Really, really cool. So about that chip, we're going to see if we can resolve that without the airbrush and just get a little bit of that Evil Sun Scarlet. Because it was in an area that was pure Evil Sun Scarlet, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't know what happened here with this. Try very, very thin. Oh, that's going to be under the black anyway. I'm not worried about that. There we go. So just kind of work that a couple times, very, very thin with the Evil Sun Scarlet. And you can see that chip is pretty much gone. So no more fooling around with those dry fitting. Gosh, stuff is just rubbing off left and right. So you can see even just handling the cloak, just struggling today. You know, we've rubbed off all the paint on the corners there. That's fine. We're going to edge highlight that, but you know, just handling the top here, you know, a lot of that's come off up here. I didn't highlight that. That's all just kind of rubbing off. I don't know what's going on with my primer, but maybe time to shop for a new primer. So anyway, yeah, done with the cloaks. And next time we're going to mask all that off, and then we're going to paint the red armor. And then after that, we're going to paint the red armor and kind of the black elements of like the psychic hood and stuff like that. Then we'll come back and start detailing the model, doing the shoulder pads, the head, gloves, you know, the whole 9 yards. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on cloaks. As always, if you have any questions, please leave a comment or send me a message. I'd be always happy to answer questions. So enjoy, and we'll see you soon for part 2.